Happy Monday, everybody. Tiny House Dreaming here. I hope every mom and motherly like woman had a happy Mother's Day yesterday. I just wanted to check in. I'm at the terminal. I did get into Missouri on Thursday morning. My trainer helped me get all my stuff on the curve behind me where the shuttle comes. And let me move out of the way. Yeah, so I got on the shuttle. I went to the hotel and checked in. It took a couple hours to actually check in and get a room, but that all went well. On Friday morning at 7 a.m. I took my ACE 1 class, which is what they call the upgrade class. That was a pretty smooth process, way smoother than, I didn't expect it to not be smooth, but I didn't think that it was gonna like go as quickly and it wasn't a lot to it. I mean, basically the first hour and a half to 2 hours, you sit and you watch a few, like 2 to 3 safety videos. I think it's like the PSA is what Prime calls it, Prime Safety something. That's like a little section of the class, and it just goes over like defensive driving and safe driving tips, different things like that. And you'll actually be sitting in a room with, it's a lot of people. So when I first walked in there, it was maybe 35 of us, and I thought that like, wow, this is how many people upgrade every day, because the ACE class, or the ACE 1 class, it's every day of the week, Monday through Sunday. At 7 a.m. it starts. And there was a lot of people, so I'm thinking if this class is every day, this is a lot of people that upgrade on a daily basis. But I found out that it's actually like, because it's the safety portion of the class, if you're becoming a trainer, you have to take that class. If you've like gotten tickets or in minor accidents where your driver manager or fleet manager feels like you could benefit from a safety course, if you're upgrading, you take that class whether you're going lease or company. So I was kind of mixed. It was a plethora of people in different stages of doing whatever. So there was about 10 of us that were upgrading. Maybe 5 or 6 of us were upgrading as company drivers. A few of them were upgrading, not us, because I'm going company for anybody that's wondering. But a few of them were going lease. So basically getting back to how it all worked. The first hour and a half was in that safety class watching the videos. After that, they kind of disperse you for a couple hours. But when you're in the last safety video class, like he'll call out, like if you're a trainer, meet me in this room at this time. If you're here because your DM suggested the class, meet me here at this time. If you're upgrading as a lease, meet me here at this time. If you're upgrading as a company, and we just happened to stay in the classroom that we were in. And he came to us first, and he, like, everybody else left the room, and that's how I know there was about 6 or 7 of us that were upgrading as company, because that's all that was left in the room once he told us to stay put. He went and got these purple packets. They're like mesh bags, kind of like a makeup bag, but just a bigger version. It was probably like 13 inches by 15 inches or something, and it had all kind of paperwork in it. But he handed us each one of those to us, and I kind of seen him hand out like black ones to, I think, the trainers, and like blue ones to the lease people, or I might have my colors mixed, but I believe what color bag kind of indicates like where you're headed off to next, training, upgrading as a lease op, or doing company. And if you're curious on how the shuttles look, there's one. They're like bus type. They're completely different than how our Utah shuttles are, like the bigger vans. But anyways, off the topic. Y'all know I get lost easy. So yeah, we had a packet, and basically inside the pouch is like, I'm assuming it's like a company handbook type thing. It's like a lot of different sections. Each section stapled together, but it looks like at one point before Prime started getting so huge, they probably gave you like a company handbook that was binded, and it had like different stuff in it. And I think this is just their version where they make a copy, because there's so many people coming and going at this point, like they probably couldn't keep up with like buying binded versions of this. But it's basically, it has everything in it really that you would need like when you're out on the road to refer back to. So like there's stuff about how payroll works, how many cents per mile you get, and like how you get your like raises based on how many miles you run. Like it kind of separates it from flatbed to tanker to reefer division. So there's like the HRE type of information in the packet, like things like, and like payroll type things. sexual harassment type things like that would fall under like an HR or the corporate side, I guess. And then there's like practical things that would help you as well. Like I seen a thing about like how to control the reefer, like the refrigerator unit, like what settings, like what the different buttons mean and how to set it to the different settings. Just different things on like the practical side of being a truck driver. So where if you are out there and like maybe a situation didn't arise when you were with your trainer and you're like, I don't know how to set it to fresh meat, you know, just pulling out an example out the sky. You can look at this thing in the packet and it'll show you like what to push on the reefer to make it set to fresh meat. So like it's a packet that has some good information. I would definitely, I'm going to keep it handy once I get my truck somewhere because it's something that I could see myself like kind of pulling the packet out and like looking at and getting general information. I mean, although you can always call your fleet manager, but you know, like sometimes you just want to look up the information for yourself or just have, I'm a visual, like I like to see stuff in black and white right in my face, read it. I still might call my fleet manager to double check or ask questions, but it's a good packet to have. So they gave us that. And I'm not, and like in the packet, there's a log book as well. So like if your Qualcomm ever shut down or you, for any reason, you always have to keep logs of 8 days back. So if your Qualcomm ever does shut off, you need to be able to fill out the paper logs to keep track of your time while your Qualcomm was down. And sometimes when it comes back up, your time will fill back in, but just in case it stays broke for too long or you get put into a waste station, you want to have the paper logs to fill in whatever time, you know, from the duration of when your Qualcomm stopped, if that makes sense. So what else was in the packet? I think that was only like the handbook and then the logs book. So he gave us the packet and basically he let us know that he put all the modules of the CBT, the computer-based training. He loaded all the modules we needed under our name. So he said at this point you can kind of go find a computer room, log into a computer and take your CBTs. And he told us, the company drivers, because we were the only ones left in the room at that point, he told us to meet him in the simulator lab at noon. And then I guess from there he was probably going to talk with the like lease upgraders, and you know, he was going to deal with the other people. And so I don't know what he talked to them about or how that works for leasing. I'm finding a little bit out because one of the guys that was at Utah with me during orientation, he's here. He's actually in his leasing class. So I'm here with him. Like I drove in with him this morning to talk to my DM. I didn't really have anything to do here today, but just wanted to kind of find out a little bits of information. So I will find out kind of how the upgrade process works on the lease side once he kind of does his process. And I'll let you guys know, just because I know a lot of you guys coming out want to go leasing straight out of TNT, which I get that question a lot. Can you lease right after TNT? Yes, you can. Like you don't ever have to be a company driver here if you do not want to be. A lot of people suggest to be a company driver first, just to kind of get your feet wet and understand how things work, how often freight moves, just to understand where they're going to be sending you and different things like that. But if you're confident enough and you are business savvy enough to come out here and do it from day one, Prime will absolutely let you. And I'll get back to you. I'll make another video just specifically kind of talking about how his experience was. But anyways, so I took my computer-based training. It's about 23 to 25 modules, if I remember right. They actually sent me an email on it, like with the list of it. So I'll try to like screen print that email and like put it in the corner here. But I did that, and at 12 o'clock I met him back at the sim lab, and that's when we all took our simulator test. And like you have to pass this test to be able to complete your upgrade. So I'm sorry, I got to decline the call. So I was expecting from Utah how I would see people, like in Utah, it's small enough where when you're sitting in the sim lab, like there's also all the computers lined up against the wall where you do your computer-based training. So like as you're going through orientation and you're doing your computer-based training, different people that are coming in through the Utah terminal to upgrade, like you can't help but overhear what's going on or like turn around and see them at the simulator, and you could kind of get a feel somewhat of how it works because you're overhearing the conversations and you're seeing the test they're taking just because you happen to be in the same room. Not that you're being nosy, but I used to pay attention just because I like to get the full understanding of everything. But they seemed like they had like different tests. Like it seemed like there were 3 or 4 tests, and some of them were like a backing test definitely, and like a winter driving test. And maybe because it was the time of year, I was there when it was snowing. So I don't know if time of year matters, but here, so I was expecting to have like a couple tests, like a handful of tests that I had to pass on the simulator in order to move up through my upgrade process. But when I actually got in there, it's only one test. It's a backing test. It's really easy. So I would not like suggest, don't even stress yourself out about it. Not that I was stressed out, I wasn't. Because I'm like, if you're out here in the real world backing during your TNT phase and even your PSD, or, you know, you should be able to do anything that the simulator throws at you. Like, there shouldn't be no fake scenario that's any more difficult than like actually being in the real world doing it. So like, definitely don't overthink about it. But the test, even if you were an overthinker and like they tried to throw the hardest thing, that wasn't the case at all. It was super easy. They let you practice as many times as you want. You are able to tell them if you want to test on the simulator in like an automatic version of a truck or a manual. I had sillily, I don't think that's a word. I chose an automatic just because I didn't know what type of test. When they give you a paper to fill out, like you put your social and everything, and he told me to write at the top, do I want to test in an automatic or a manual? And from what I had thought about seeing the people in Utah do, like where they were doing driving, like forward driving on the different highways and having to like go around obstacles and things like that, I thought it would be that type of test. So I would figure like an automatic would have to be easier, even though I've been training in a manual so I could do it. But like, if you can take one less obstacle out your way while you're testing, why not? And that's my thought. So I put down automatic, but it didn't even matter anyways, because it was just the one backing test. It's like they let you practice as many times as you want. But the test is basically like they start you off on the street, you know, you're facing going forward, and you have to pull forward a little bit and pull into a shipper's parking lot. You know, and then you kind of like pull around the parking lot, go up, and then you turn it into an offset back to get into the dock. And you just have to not hit anything, and they give you 10 minutes. It's a time test, so you have 10 minutes to do this. But 10 minutes is more than enough. So I know it might not sound like a lot, because in real life, it takes you longer than 10 minutes, especially when you're new out here. But 10 minutes is like more than enough time. I would think most people probably finish that in like 3 to 4 minutes. So even if you have to pull up 1,000,000 times, it's not an alley dock or anything like that. But if you had to pull up 1,000,000 times during the test, you should still be able to pass the test. There's not a lot of obstacles. They're not setting you up to fail on this test. So there's not a lot of stuff that you can hit. There is an overview button on the simulator, so you can always hit it to see how close, because the perspective is weird in a simulator. It's not the same as in a truck. You can't stick your head out the window and look or whatever, but you can always hit that perspective button, and it shows you how far, it shows you where you are in relation to everything around you. So it's an easy test. That's all. I guess that's the basis of what I'm saying. Don't stress over it. It's super easy peasy. I don't think I met one person that failed at all. I mean, not that I've talked to so many people, but I've seen people coming out in the morning. I'm like, how you do, you know, and everybody's been doing good. So don't worry about it. But after that, you can go back to the one of the computer rooms if you need to, if you still have CBTs that you need to finish, you know, because you might not finish between the time that he tells you about the CBTs and you have to go to the simulator room. So if you need more time, because there's a lot, and like some of the modules, the CBT modules, they could be from like 3 minutes to like 20 something minutes. So it just depends on how quickly you listen or whatever and retain the information, because at the end of most of the modules there is like a short test or a quiz, and you do have to get 100%. So like if you fail a question, you'll want to go back and like retake it, or maybe choose another answer, or however you do it. But some people, it's kind of at your leisure, so it could take longer or shorter just depending on how you study and learn or whatever. But they give you as long as you need. So once you finish all your computer-based training, you finished your last module, there's a guy you go find. They call him the Great and Powerful Oz. I can't remember his real name because everybody in the office was like, that's who he is. He's the one that flips the button in the computer to change you from student to A-seat driver. And basically you just go see him. I went at the end of the day. Like, I seen David, the guy that I'm talking about that's here upgrading as a lease operator. He had to go this morning because he took this ACE test over the weekend, and I don't think the guy was there. So he went this morning. There was a long line of people waiting to talk to him. I happened to go about 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday, and there was nobody waiting. So I just walked up to him. There's only 2 guys in the office, and I was like, I'm here to see whoever I need to talk to upgrade me. It was him. He said, I was like, what's your name again? They said, we just call him the Great and Powerful Oz, so I'm passing that on to you. And remember, all this is happening here in Missouri, not Utah. So I guess I can't really speak to how upgrade process works in Utah because I'm not there. It's weird. But he flipped the switch and he said, next thing you have to do is go talk to Success Leasing, which is the leasing department here at Prime at the terminal. So all of these things that I was just talking about, they all happen at the Campus Inn, like the simulator room, the computer labs, the guy that you need to talk to flip the button. All of those people and those things happen at the Campus Inn. You don't have to like shuttle back and forth to the terminal. The only thing is when you're done with those things, you do have to come to the terminal to talk to Success Leasing. And that's whether you're going company or lease. You still have to go to Success Leasing because what it is they have lists. I know if you're going upgrading as a lease, there's additional classes on top of what I just explained. Because like I said, David's sitting in one of them now. I think it's called the ACE 2 class or something like that. And he had additional modules on his computer-based training that was asking him different scenarios, like as far as being a lease driver. So there's extra steps if you're going to be leased, but they're probably good steps because they're preparing you because you're going to be actually running your own business, you know, as a lease operator. But again, that'll be another video. I'll find out how it works for him, and I'll like give you a spiel on how all of that happened. But yeah, you come over here to Success Leasing, you let the people know there that like whether your company or you just go up to the desk, you tell them I just upgraded, they told me to come over here and get my name on the list. The lady will ask you like your driver code, are you going to go lease or company? For me, I said I'm going company. She tried to give me a lightweight. She was like, okay, I'm going to put you in a lightweight. And I was like, no, I don't want a lightweight. So she told me that she would have to put my name on the list for a condo. And of course, she tried to talk me into getting a lightweight. You make 5 cents more per mile. You know, and she was like, you won't have to wait for it. And I can't promise you an automatic. And if you go with the lightweight, the chances are you will get a newer automatic. Because most of their lightweights are newer, like 2017, it would be probably the oldest. But you'll probably get an 18 or 19 automatic. If I'm waiting for a condo, she was like, I really can't promise you whether you'll get an automatic or a manual. I don't know how old it'll be. It'll just be basically what happens to come in is what you'll get as we get to your name on the list. And it looked like there was maybe 5 people ahead of me. At first, when we started the conversation, she said it'll be about a week and a half wait. And this was again on Friday. Today's Monday. But at the end of our conversation, when she took she took all my information, my driver's code, all of that. She asked if I knew my DM, but I hadn't been assigned my new DM at that point. So I just put my old trainer's DM so she has something to list and he knows how to get in contact with me. But she took my number down and she said, okay, well, I'll try to give you a call around Wednesday. So I don't know if it'll be this Wednesday I might be getting a truck or if it'll be a week and a half from Friday because that's a big time difference. And she made it a point to tell me, you know, you're not going to be getting paid to wait. I'm not sure because my DM, who is my trainer's DM, he said that you do get paid during this process. So I'm not, you know, I'm just passing on the information I have. I have not gotten paid this week yet to be able to tell you guys that I only got paid a couple days of my guarantee because it's basically how you get paid $700 a week while you're in this TNT phase. It basically just boils down to $100 a day. So like, and I found that out because when I passed my CDL back in Utah and went home for those few days, I passed it. I got my CDL on a Monday. Payroll here stops on Tuesday. So my first week of being, I guess, in TNT phase waiting for my trainer, I got paid $200 and I was trying to figure it out. So I talked to my payroll person and she said essentially it boils down to like $100 a day. So you had upgraded on a Monday and you get paid for Tuesday and then the next one, it falls into the next week. So she was like, that's why you got $200 to $100 for both of those days. And then the next week you'll get a full $700 because you would have been in your TNT phase for 7 straight days. So if that makes any sense. So if the lady here is right and I don't get paid to sit and wait for a condo because they had a lightweight available and I stopped getting paid that day that I talked to her, which was Friday, then that means I would have still gotten paid my guarantee pay $100 a day for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So when I get paid this Friday. I'll find out and I'll let you guys know on another video. But my DM says you do get paid while you're waiting. Now, I think the only time from what I understand, because I think she might have just been saying that to try to get me to take the lightweight, but I think you get paid unless like you're specific about I want a certain color, or if you're picky about automatic. I don't even know that as company drivers you can say I'm gonna wait for an automatic. I don't know that you can do that. As a lease driver, you can definitely do that if they don't have automatics available. But if you're picky on color or something, or you're like too overly picky where really the reason why you're waiting is because and it's not be like we have 10 trucks and you're just not willing to take them, then I think that your pay does stop. But if it's just because like you need a condo versus a lightweight because that's how your lifestyle or whatever is, I think that they do pay you. So I kind of think the girl was wrong, but I'm just passing on what I've been told because I don't want anybody to say you said you was gonna get paid and they didn't. I don't know, but I will get back to you guys to let you know, did I get my today? Am I getting paid for sitting here today or not? They are still paying for me to be at the hotel. So there you go. But so basically, yeah, so you put your name on the list, and like I said, they she told me either Wednesday or a week and a half from now. So I'm kind of just every day I just make sure that my phone's on, it's charged. If I see her calling or anybody calling that I don't know the number to, I'm answering the phone because it could be them saying that they have a truck available. I really don't want a manual. Y'all know that this girl right here does not like me and shifting. I mean, and see, it's weird because like I say that and I've gotten used to it. You know, like you spend all these miles in this truck weeks at a time in the truck I was in with my trainer, and it was manual. Every now and then I would like be fighting it, but for the most part I've gotten used to it. So like if they hand me a manual, I'm gonna be feeling some type of way, but I also know that like if I had to do it, I can do it. Like I do feel confident. So don't get me when I say I want an automatic. For me, it's just really like when you're in the manual, how I've explained prior to now, is like you have to watch RPMs, you have to watch your miles per hour. You know, you have to be conscious of when you're going down a certain percent downgrade, like what gear did you need to go drop down into to safely go down that so you're not like burning your brakes out. There's a lot of things that you need to be mindful of when you're driving a manual because it's manually on you. You are manually controlling what's happening with the truck. So while I can do it, it's not the most comfortable thing, or if I could avoid having to think about all those things, because in the midst of thinking about all those things, you're still having to be a defensive driver, pay attention to traffic, pay attention to signs, pay attention to where you're exiting, listening to the Qualcomm. Like you have to be doing all these things as well, while also being mindful of like what gear am I in, you know, like different things like that. So if I can get an automatic, to me, that just leaves me the brain power that I would be using to pay attention to the manual part of things, to be actually like giving more brain power to watching traffic, to paying attention to signs, to listening to the Qualcomm. If you have a Ram McNally running at the same time, to like kind of be looking back and forth at both of them and which one's better, different things like that. So you know, I would prefer to, and it just is easier. It's easier. The truck thinks, as far as the shifting, the truck for the most part thinks for you. Every now and then you might have to hit the down switch or up switch button, you know, when you're hearing your truck or whatever, and people say that they're kind of jerky, but it allows you to free up more of your thought process onto other things. I mean, either way, you're using all of your brain power. Well, all of your brain power that I guess humans have available, because they say we only use like a minor percent of our brain power, but that's neither here nor there. But I think you guys get what I'm saying. If I'm in an automatic, I can focus on other things. If I get a manual, I'm going to see, is there anything I can do? Like if I give it to the next person on the list, can I wait? Well, I might get an automatic because I might be willing to wait a day or two extra. If not, like I'll take the manual and run with it. I know at some point, like people keep saying you won't be in it long, which the word long in that situation is relative to what long is to you. But I know that Prime is trying to slowly get rid of all their manuals, and they're turning their fleet over to all automatic. So eventually anybody that's in a manual, they're going to cycle through them and they'll bring you back to the terminal. They'll take the manual from you and they'll give you an automatic just as they filter through all their manuals. But again, people say it's not going to be long. You won't be in there long, like as long 6 months is long, 2 years, like long is relative to the person that you're talking to, assuming that they even know what Prime's time frame is of how quick or not quick they're gonna be filtering through all these manuals. You get what I'm saying? So there's that. I like came over here today, talked to my DM and was like, is there any code word I can use to try to help me get it? Because he knows, I talked to him while I was on my trainer's truck. There was a point in time where stupid on my part that I tried to get rid of my trainer, not because of him. I really lucked up in the training department. I was very lucky. I appreciate that I got such an awesome trainer, because so many people here go through multiple trainers. I hear about the personality differences and I am like, really? I like need to be sending this man a gift basket like once a month just as a thank you, because he taught me things. He never yelled, never cussed. We we got along so well. It was just amazing in comparison to hearing everybody else's story. Like, for the most part, more people have gone through multiple trainers than haven't. From what, I don't know in the grand scheme of things how the percentage, but I'm just saying as people that talk to me. So I feel so very thankful. And there was a time on my 11th day, the first time that I came to the terminal here in Missouri, I talked to my DM, and I know Junior made a video with Steve Tassin recently. I sat down in the conference room and had a discussion with my DM and Steve and my trainer was fully aware of this and supported this, so I wasn't like going behind his back or nothing. But I hated the manual so much that I was willing to give up the good relationship that I had with my trainer just to get on an automatic truck, because I was like, at that point I was 11 days in, I was like, I can't imagine going through this weeks and weeks. And this is like after stalling in Arizona, and like I had stalled right as we pulled off the exit here in Missouri to come to the terminal. I had to literally, I was so frustrated. So I wanted to get off of automatic, and like Steve and my DM, and they sat down and they asked my trainer, like, like, do you think that she's not getting it that much where we need to put her on automatic? They got his feel, and he was fully aware. So he was like, Desiree, if you don't want to be on this manual, like, we could go try to fix, get it taken care of. Like, you don't have to be stuck on my truck. He was that cool. But they asked him, like, where do you think her learning ability is? Like, do you think that she's never going to get it? Do you think that she's just stalling and stuff because she's just kind of just now getting on a manual? I mean, 11 days is 11 days, but it's in the big scheme of learning how to drive a manual and really learning it. 11 days is you're still a beginner. You're a baby. What are you talking about? So, he was like, she's a smart girl. She drives perfect. Other than the man, is she needs to learn shifting. But he was like, I can't lie and say I don't think if you left her on my truck that she can't learn it. But he said at the same time, if she's not confident and it's all in her head, I don't, like, is she gonna let that go or not? And I was like, I'm never gonna get it. I don't like it. I was whining and being a baby. Ultimately, they told me, try it out for 1 more week. Give it 1 more week of you trying to learn. And if you really still feel as adamant as you're saying you feel right now today, call me, call us, DM Steve, and we'll bring you back in and we'll get you off the truck, but give us the benefit of, give it 1 more week, a week's more experience, and see how you feel. And obviously you guys see that I never changed trainers. So while I still hated the manual, I just kind of fell into this accepting it. Like, what, this is what it is, Desiree. I didn't think it was going to come down to me getting a manual once I upgraded. I thought that I would be in automatic. So I was just like, just deal with it. It is what it is. Make the best of it. Try to learn it as much as possible and just go along with the flow. Once I kind of let that mindset, everything kind of just flew into place. Like, it all worked out. So I felt like I see my trainer pulling through the thing. Like, the truck just looks like him. I'm like, wow, he's back already. Sorry, guys. I get sidetracked really easy, okay? But I'm upstairs in the cafeteria. Oh, David's out of the class. I'm gonna walk back in, but I think I said everything I needed to say. If I left anything out that I could think of, I'll just add it to the other video I make when I find out everything. I'm gonna let him finish going through the process, then I'll get back with you guys. But thanks so much for listening to me for almost 30 minutes. I hope everybody has a beautiful day. And again, happy belated Mother's Day to all you moms. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.